We initially started considering Temporal when we were first building out the workflows product before agents were sort of even a thing either at Retool or outside of Retool. And initially, how the workflows team was structured within Retool was sort of a startup within a startup. We really only had 2-3 people working on it at any given time. And so when we were thinking about how to set up the product, operational burden and getting to market fast were top order concerns for us. And so we started out by sort of rolling our own temporal queue with PGBoss and AWS Lambda. And ultimately, we just reached some scaling limits. For example, we could only run our workflows back then for 15 minutes. Now we can run them for up to weeks, of course, with Temporal. We had trouble sort of keeping connections live between all of our services, for example. And then just on the team side, the size of the team that we would need in order to build and scale our own orchestrator inside of Retool was just way larger than we were willing to invest for a new product. So that's when we started thinking about Temporal. We initially started by hosting our own Temporal cluster and then eventually migrated to Temporal Cloud. And we've been very happy customers ever since. And our customers, by extension, are also happy customers of workflows. So it's just been a really nice tool in our toolbox for when we want to get to live fast without having to think about all this sort of undifferentiated work of orchestrating and retry policies and state management, and just like the list goes on. Sort of the moral of the story in adapting workflows to agents is, we really wanted to launch this thing in a short order of months. I remember you visited me in the office and we had a big countdown.
Yeah.
And so it was a pretty quick timeline, and utilizing the work that we already had with workflows and Temporal was really what made it possible for us to ship so fast. And it's just been great seeing our customers start to adopt agents and make real use cases. I think that's sort of what any PM really wants, is to get a product into customers' hands as soon as possible to start getting feedback. Without Temporal and without the baseline that we've created with workflows over the last few years, that cycle would have taken us way longer, at which point, the goalpost in this space is just shifting. And so getting something out in the market as soon as possible was just such a huge benefit and just a motivator for my team as well to see customers use it. What's really nice is out the gate, right, we are able to handle a robust agents platform that can allow you to run agents as tools, can allow you to run workflows as tools, promotes the use of backend functions and Retool as tools, MCP, all of it. And that just gives us such a broader foundation to work on with our customers and a broader foundation for them to give us feedback on, so the iteration cycle is just way faster. Without Temporal, we would have to hire up. We would have to launch a V-1 instead of a V0 of agents, or it just would have taken us longer. I think that especially now there's a big push to sort of roll your own in basically every way that you can, because the bar has been lowered a ton for generating code and creating really, really quick improvements in your platforms with the help of Cursor or Cloud Code or whatever your engineering organization is using. I think what I'd say is just not to underestimate the complexity of systems like this, and also the complexity of maintaining systems like this. There are some things that you just want to take as a given when you're building a product, and this is just one of them. I think that for us, right, as a company that has existed in this automation market for a really long time, it's beholden on us to sort of disrupt ourselves. And with Temporal, that disruption is so much easier to do because we're working with the same primitives that we worked on when we launched our first product years ago. So I think my advice to product engineering teams is to sort of not underestimate the complexity. Think really deeply about the things that you want to be given about your product out the gate, and really think about the long tail of the things that you're going to have to maintain in order for that to be true. Because I think that long tail is just really not worth rolling your own, regardless of how fast you're able to get it up. That's usually not the complex part of building and maintaining products. The complex part is the maintenance. And then, think about how that applies to how you're going to have to continue to disrupt yourself in this market as the products evolve. I'd imagine, we're going to ship changes really, really fast in the next 6 months in order to evolve to the adapting AI scene. And I would hate to be making those decisions in an environment in which I'm stuck with an architecture that we rolled ourselves, and rather depend on architecture that I know is just going to work.